Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Shaily Engineering Plastics Limited Q4 and FY24 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company which are based on the beliefs, opinions and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantee of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participants' line will be in listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Amit Sanghvi, Managing Director of Shaily Engineering Plastics Limited. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening and a very warm welcome to all the participants to the post-results investor call of Shaily Engineering Plastics. I have with me Mr. Sanjay Shah, Chief Strategy Officer, and SGA, our Investor Relations Advisors. I hope you've had a look at our investor presentation that is uploaded on our website and the stock exchange. I'm glad to welcome Mr. Paresh Jain as our new Chief Financial Officer. He's a qualified chartered accountant from ICAI, having 19 years of rich and extensive experience. Prior to joining us, he has held significant positions in reputed organizations such as Banco Aluminum, Safari Industries, Indian Oil Tanking Group, Atul Limited, and GPPL. Let me give you some highlights on the operational performance. Despite a challenging global situation, we delivered a top-line growth of 27% to 171 crores in Q4 FY24 and have improved our gross margins and EBITDA margins, which stand at 46.8% and 21.3% respectively. Presently, we are extending our reach to global markets through Shaily UK. We are now building capabilities beyond injection pens and auto-injectors to develop advanced drug delivery solutions with electronics. Looking ahead, our focus is on expanding our horizon to include contract manufacturing for medical devices, products featuring our intellectual property, and specialty devices. Dedicated efforts invested in advancing our injection system platforms are beginning to show favorable outcomes. Within the industry, our business scope is vast, and we remain committed to ongoing growth. Our second largest revenue-generating sector today is healthcare, and we've adopted a scalable approach that will enable us to increase our revenues at a faster pace over the next 5 years. We plan to increase our own IP contribution going forward. In the healthcare division, we have received confirmed business orders from 3 customers, 2 for semaglutide and 1 for lanreotide in the last quarter. An update on carbon steel business for the home furnishings major. We've added 1 new product in the carbon steel business from the home furnishings major. We've also added 1 new product on the plastic side for the home furnishings major. In the industrial segment, we received confirmed export orders for supply of knobs to a U.S. appliance major. That is all from my side. I shall now hand over the call to Sanjay to give you the operating and the financial highlights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amit. Good evening, everyone. I shall share with you the highlights of our operational and financial performance of Q4 FY24 and FY24, following which we will be happy to respond to your queries. During the quarter, we processed 5,380 tons of polymers as against 4,590 tons in Q4 FY23. For the year ended, we processed 22,098 tons of polymers as against 20,650 tons in FY23. Machine utilization was around 40% in Q4 FY24 and 40% for FY24. We expect this to increase in the coming years. Exports during Q4 FY24 and FY24 stood at 73% and 74% respectively of total revenue. I shall now brief you on the consolidated result highlights. Revenue stood at 170.6 crores during Q4 FY24 as compared to 124.5 crores during Q4 FY23, a growth of 27% year-on-year. EBITDA stood at 36.3 crores during Q4 FY24 as compared to 26.5 crores during Q4 FY23, a growth of 37% year-on-year. EBITDA margin stood at 21.3% for Q4 FY24, an increase of 160 basis points over Q4 last year. PAT stood at 19.3 crores during Q4 FY24 as compared to 9.9 crores during Q4 FY23, a growth of 95% year-on-year. PAT margin stood at 11.3%, an increase of 390 basis points over Q4 last year. Cash PAT for Q4 FY24 was reported at rupees 29.3 crores as compared to rupees 19.8 crores during Q4 FY23, a growth of 48% year-on-year. Now coming to FY24 consolidated highlights. Revenue stood at 643.9 crores in FY24 as compared to 607.1 crores during FY23, a growth of 6%. EBITDA stood at 123.4 crores in FY24 as compared to 96.4 crores during FY23, a growth of 28%. EBITDA margin stood at 19.2% and 330 basis points over last year. PAT stood at 57.3 crores in FY24 as compared to rupees 35.1 crores during FY23, a growth of 63%. PAT margin stood at 8.9%, an increase of 310 basis points over last year. Cash PAT for FY24 was reported at 93 crores as compared to 68.5 crores during FY23, a growth of 36% year-on-year. Our ROC and ROE stood at 17.7% and 13.3% respectively as of 31st March 2024. Again, the growth in business has been achieved with disciplined use of capital. Our debt to equity stands at 0.5x and our long-term debt to equity stands at 0.15x. Now coming to consolidated segmental revenue breakup. In the consumer segment, revenue stood at 481.2 crores in FY24 as compared to 503.3 crores during FY23. The drop or the degrowth of 4% was mainly on two counts. One is pass-through raw materials and a lower toy sales as compared to what we did in FY23. In pharma segment, revenue stood at 107.7 crores in FY24 as compared to 57.6 crores during FY23, growth of 87%. In the industrial segment, revenue stood at 55 crores as compared to 46.15 crores during FY23, a growth of 19%. The Board of Directors has recommended a final dividend of rupees 1 per equity share of face value of rupees 2 each of the company. This represents 50% dividend on the face value of rupees 2. This is all from our side. We can open the floor for Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Dhwanil Desai from Total Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. You are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the first question that I have is that on the healthcare segment, we have done a fantastic job in terms of developing platforms and then, kind of doing all the IP work. The larger question that I have is that if we look at our peer set, be it TFM Auto or Namera or any other company, essentially they are all, by DNA, they are medtech companies. And so from where we are today to reach to that level, what kind of capabilities, manufacturing framework, regulatory angles, what are we doing to ensure that we move towards there and then compete with them and then are able to get higher market share? Your perspective will be very useful.
One of the things I think it's a part of the journey. There established players for a very long time, for several decades. And one of the things that we are waiting for is essentially our first US and EU approvals on one of our injection pen platforms. We're very confident that these approvals will come in the current financial year before the end of this calendar year. And that will establish us as a player, as a reputed player in the industry. So going forward, with the pipeline that we currently have, we're already looking at a very significant revenue scale up over the next 5 years, as I said in the speech earlier. But the opportunity to work with innovator companies, apart from Sanofi, will come once our brand and product gets established in regulated markets. So it's a journey, and we're just now waiting for the outcomes.
Got it, Amit. Just if you can expand a bit on the capability side of it, that other than the polymer processing, what kind of capabilities in next 3 to 5 years we need to develop to kind of, compete head on with some of those guys?
I think when it comes to, let's say, R&D and design capabilities, I would say that our injector platform portfolio is as good or better than any of our competitors globally today. When it comes to manufacturing, our infrastructure is world-class. We've invested in tool manufacturing in the last year. It was mentioned in one of our calls before. So we now manufacture a lot of the molds that we use in these products in-house. So capability buildup has been very strong at Shaily. We'll certainly need to add more heads, add the human resource capital as we scale up. But apart from that, on the capability side, I think we're on par, as good as anyone else, any one of our competitors globally today.
Got it. My second question is on the base business, which is non-pharma part of it. So given the order wins that we have got in the last year, FY24 entirely, if I just look at the number and, from the timelines starting, many of them starting from Q2 and then gradually scaling up, but still it looks like that the base business will grow at 12 to 15%. Is that a right assumption? Is it how you guys are looking at it?
So one is, the two things that you need to consider. One is, when I mentioned it as part of my speech also, that we have seen a raw material reduction being passed to customers, which basically impacts the top line, which is what has happened. The businesses which we have talked about last year, part of those businesses have got commercialized Q3 and Q4, and as we speak, we will be looking at ramping up those businesses. Some of the businesses which were to have commercialized in Q4 have got delayed to, say, Q1. So you will then see a ramp of Q2, Q3. That's the way we will look at it.
Okay, got it. And last question on the carbon steel business. So I think we were expecting year-on-year improvement and probably breaking even, at EBITDA level this year. So are we on track for that?
So we have seen a substantial year-on-year improvement. EBITDA level, I would say we have not broken even, but we are at a very borderline thing, and we should basically be able to break even in the current year.
Okay, got it. Thanks. I have more questions. I'll come back in the queue.
So just to add, if you were to look at number of taken on 4 new projects with the customer during the last financial year.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aman Vij from Astute Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My first set of questions are on our healthcare business. So one clarification first. So in Q4 presentation, we talk about we got 3 new orders from customers, and till Q4 we had mentioned that till Q3 we had already mentioned we had 4. So is the number of orders for the full year which we got new contracts, is it 7? Is it 4? Why there's this difference?
Sorry, I lost your voice in between. Could you just repeat?
Yeah, I was saying in the quarter 3 presentation, we had already mentioned that we have gotten 4 contracts for development and supply of pen injectors. And in Q4, we have again added that we have got confirmed orders from 3 customers. So, are these exclusive? Is it 3 plus 4, or is it these 3 are only as of now confirmation? They are not contracts. So that is why we have not included it in.
No, 3 plus 4. 4 plus 4.
4 plus 3. Sorry.
Okay. So that slide which shows that we have added only 4, that should be 7, right? Then we have mentioned in one of the slides for the full year we have added 4 customers.
Slide is basically for quarter 1 to quarter 3 in terms of what's being done between quarter 1 to quarter 3. And there's a specific slide on quarter 4.
Okay. There was this confusion. Okay. Next, basically, in terms of number of contract additions, if you can talk about how is the pipeline looking like for FY25 and 26? What kind of contracts number do you think we can add this year and next year?
So we're getting a lot of traction on pen injector for semaglutide particularly. But in the current financial year, we're also looking at adding fair bit of new contracts for tirzepatide. Tirzepatide is an NCE-1 filing deadline in May 26, and our platform is now fully developed. So we're looking at starting supplies in November of this year for clinical batches to various customers. Therefore, adding new contracts as well.
Sure. As of today, what is the total number of projects we have, including the 7 which we added last year?
Ongoing projects on all molecules put together, somewhere around 12 to 15 ongoing projects.
No, that will be higher.
Yeah, but we're talking about what this financial year that we added.
Yeah. So, I think the question which someone had was total ongoing projects. I think you need to include Lira and Terry, all of it put together.
So total ongoing projects, someone then would exceed, probably closer to 20.
Yeah, it will be about 22, 23.
Yeah.
Sure. And how many of these projects will be auto-injector projects out of this 2023?
So auto-injectors, we have a total of 4 projects, and balance are on pen injectors.
Sure, Amit. My next question is, you had talked about a couple of commercial supplies.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. May I request you to please use your handset?
Yeah. I was asking that last quarter you had talked about a couple of commercial supplies that we were supposed to start. I think we have done two commercial supplies till date. So any ideas about what kind of commercial supplies we'll be doing in FY25?
So we started commercial supplies for teriparatide, which is our Axiom pen, and we are looking at starting some commercial supplies of our liraglutide pen as well in the current year.
Okay. So only one project commercial supplies you are expecting for this year, or more?
Only talking about regulated markets. In non-regulated markets, we do supply for insulin. Our Protean platform is used for supply of a 60-unit insulin pen. So for that, commercial supplies have already started, and we are supplying non-regulated markets. We're looking at a decent scale up this year for Protean as well.
Sure. Next question is, Shaily UK saw good growth this year in FY24. So what kind of growth are we expecting in, say, FY25? And will it be back-ended like H2 or it will be spread across?
On new projects, it will get back-ended because regardless of whether a platform is fully developed or not, when you engage with the customer, you have a 6 to 10 month timeline before the full project execution happens for that customer. So those projects get revenue reflection will be back-ended. Everything that's ongoing, let's say from quarter 3, quarter 4, will get realized in the first 2 quarters of this year. So you will see a higher UK revenue in quarter 3, quarter 4 for sure, but I think quarter 1 and 2 are not going to be low. I mean, we're going to see decent revenue generation in the UK as well.
Just to add to what Amit said, ideally when you look at Shaily or Shaily UK, or I would say look at it on a more on a consolidated basis, don't look at a quarter-on-quarter basis, but more from a year-to-year basis.
Sure. My next question is, Amit, last quarter you talked about a new device, Shaily SafeLand for Landroid, and I think we have gotten one contract also for the same. So could you talk about the same? How many customers do we have for the same? And is this product already commercialized, or we will commercialize it in, say, this year?
No, we have now 2 customers on Landroid side and active discussions for adding another 2. But we will supply clinical batches in the first half of the current year for Landroid type. Okay, so no commercialization as of now for this project. For this clinical, yeah. When you supply clinical batches, the product is at Shaily's end fully commercialized, but it won't get onto the market until approvals are received by the pharma customers.
Sure. And just last 2 questions on healthcare before I come back in the queue. So you had talked about a very good growth last year, and we've already delivered very good growth. On this high base, what kind of growth do you expect for this? And also, if you can talk about our own IP pens. So when do we see these IP pens in the market? Do you think this will happen this year? Because one is commercialization from our side, but then there is commercialization from the customer side also. So when do we see our own IP pens in the market so that we can get the feedback from end customers and all those things? These 2 questions I have.
From whatever information we have today, we are fairly confident we will see our products on the market in the current year. And at least teriparatide, so the Axiom pen, and towards the end of the year, hopefully liraglutide as well.
And in terms of growth for the healthcare segment for this year?
No, we said in the past calls as well, Aman, we're looking at the moment 50 to 60% growth on the pharma side in the current year as well.
Yeah, even on this high base you're talking about.
Yes.
Sure. I have more questions. I'll come back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nirali Gopani from Unique PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. May I request you to please use your handset?
Yeah, is this better?
Yes, ma'am. Please continue.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations on a good set of results. My first question is on the margin side. So this quarter we saw a very good improvement in the gross margins on a sequential basis. So if you can just explain what was the reason for that?
Generally, when you look at gross margin, it's a combination of higher revenues on the pharma side from Shaily India and what we've done in Shaily UK. So that's the reason for the higher gross margin.
Okay, because if I see sequentially, Shaily UK saw some decline and the revenue growth was also about 8%, but the gross margin improvement was quite good from 44 to approx 47%. So that's the reason for the question.
Yeah, so that's the reason I said it's a combination of Shaily UK and Shaily India, both put together.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. And we saw some the other expense also increased quite significantly in the quarter. So any particular reason for that?
Which expense are you talking about?
The other expense.
No, there are not any one-off expenses like that on other expenses. A lot of it will basically be normal expenses.
So we expect this kind of run rate as a percentage of sales to continue in the next year also?
Yes, I would say you should look at a base for the year and
Okay.
when you do your half year.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. And consistently for 2 quarters, we have been reporting a healthy EBITDA margin of 20-21%. So I'm not asking for any guidance, but do we expect this number to improve over the coming 2-3 years on the basis of increase in the healthcare revenue and the IP-led spend?
Really, what we have been saying is I don't think you should look at Shaily's margins or Shaily's revenues on a quarter-on-quarter basis. We would still stick by in terms of what we have said. We expect margins to go up in the next 2 to 3 years. You will see margins year-on-year improve. Broadly on 2 accounts. One is higher revenue coming in from pharma, and we basically putting in more value-add products. So that's something which will happen.
Right. Perfect. And any capex guidance for FY25?
We are not looking at any substantial capex as of now, as we speak. There will be some small capexes which we will be doing, but our focus is going to be on improving utilization level and seeing how we can basically have capacities which have been created being utilized.
Right. Perfect. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
The next question is from the line of Rahil Dasani from MAPL. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Sir, may I request you to please use your handset?
Is it better now?
Yes, sir, much better.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Just regard the pharma devices. Globally, there are several manufacturers, even a few with the Spring technology. So what is the possibility of any of our exhibit/clinical batches clients for semi and liraglutide using our devices at first, but then shifting, then going for the commercial plan?
I mean, look, there's never a certainty, right, Ryan? But if a customer has done a full program with us, then you will have to remain competitive when it comes to cost as well. And I don't see a reason why anyone should shift. One of the reasons why we're seeing good traction on a molecule like semaglutide is because we're the only ones with a spring-based pen injector, where the user steps are the same and the experience is the same as that of RLD. So at the moment, we don't have any competition globally when it comes to a spring-driven pen injector. So we feel confident that a customer should not switch over to someone else after launch.
Okay, so maybe asking a more direct question, since liraglutide is more close to commercialization, have we seen any of our customers shift from our pens post the clinical trials?
No, not at the moment. We are not. So there's two liraglutide variants. One is Victoza, one is Saxenda. For Victoza, we use a different pen injector, which is the protein platform, and for Saxenda, we use our Neo platform. So on either cases, we do not have a customer that has switched over platforms.
Got it. And if I heard it right, we are to launch liraglutide commercially from November?
No, I didn't say that. We are hopeful that we'll get approval in the current year for liraglutide launch. I don't know whether it will be November or it will be March, but we're hopeful that approval should come in the current year.
Okay, that's helpful. How many customers were we able to get hold of in comparison to the total filings for the molecules as of date? Of course, in the ROW market.
In ROW market, filings aren't always known, but I'd say in the ROW markets, in the regulated markets, we have a fairly significant share on semaglutide, and on ROW markets, if we look at, for example, let's say some of the larger players in the Indian landscape, the Indian pharma landscape, and I think we have a fairly good share of that as well.
No, sir, I was asking for liraglutide.
For liraglutide, I mean, lira was, many people filed lira before we started, to sort of the whole business of getting into injection pen platforms. So on liraglutide, particularly Victoza, we will certainly not have the highest market share. There will be many other players who will file with other devices.
Okay, that's helpful. So for liraglutide only, out of these customers we are in talks with, how many have started generating IP revenue?
None. There's no commercial launch for liraglutide yet. None of our customers have received approval.
Got it. And one customer was awaiting approval in August 23, for whom we had already filled their supply chain with inventory, and this was for liraglutide, if I'm not wrong. So when do we expect increased scale from them?
No, it was for teriparatide, not liraglutide. And
it was for
teriparatide.
Got it. Okay.
And we are hoping approval again, in the first half of this year. So let's see.
Got it. And according to the last phone call, on the 4 additional contracts for the pen injectors to large pharma, this is not related to GLP-1s, right?
No, it is GLP-1s.
It is GLP-1s. Okay, got it. That's all for me. I'll get back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand Jain, who is an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on the good numbers, and thanks for the opportunity. First question that I have is that do we have active projects on liraglutide for both Victoza and Saxenda?
Yes.
And if you could just give some idea, like you said, we have currently around 23 active projects. Then if you could just give a split between lira, sema, teri, and tirze.
From the top of my...
Probably,
yes?
We would refrain, in fact, from giving this sort of information because
I mean, I can shed some light. We've done executed and non-executed about 6 or 7 programs on teri. Lira, both Victoza and Saxenda put together, 5 to 6 programs on lira. The balance would mostly all be semaglutide, and we currently have 2 ongoing programs for tirze.
Okay. Thanks for this. This helps. So, where do you see this 23 number next year? I mean, you must be having the pipeline. So, where do you see this? Like, do you see hitting this year we did 7? So, you see the next year's number being higher than this? I mean, I don't want. Anything that you can give on this?
Difficult to give an indication like that, Anand. But what we're, focusing on right now is making sure that, our Thursday program for the NCE-1 filing, is, it remains very strong. So, I think for NCE-1 filing, we're not looking at maybe taking on more than a total of 4 to 5, because we need to make deliveries, as the last date of deliveries for the EV batches cannot be beyond potentially, let's say, September 25, right? Because they'll need 6 to 8 months or 10 months to do their stability and file. So in that time period, we are able to take on a total of only 4 to 5 accounts, maybe pushing it a little bit in the last 6 to 8 months before the filing deadline. Maybe take on another one, but we're looking at 4 to 5 right now, and that's the focus. In addition to that, we're seeing good traction for reusable pens coming up both in Europe and ROW markets. So we're working on development of our premium reusable pen at the moment. But again, from molecules and customers, it's too soon to tell what molecules it will take on and what customers. But we're basically looking at ROW markets with just as much effort as we do regulated markets.
One question that I have is that have we received, of course, it's an iterative process. So, and have we received inverse comments from US FDA, or have our partners received inverse comments from US FDA with respect to our pens? Any idea on what kind of comments were they and how were they resolved? If you could throw some light on that.
Yeah, our partners do receive, comments from the US FDA. And wherever the comments are related to device or we support the customer in answering those queries, whether it be as a technical support on answering an engineering question or via additional testing or providing additional information. Have we received any significantly adverse comments? No. We have not yet received any significantly adverse comments that I'm aware of.
Can you tell us, are there any active projects on the Harmony platform?
The Harmony platform is no longer on offer. We don't offer it, but we have done a few projects on it. So as far as those projects are concerned, we are committed to, commercializing the Harmony platform for those customers.
Okay, awesome. One last question. In your opening comments, you mentioned that we are looking at advanced drug delivery with electronics. Can you just spend a few minutes on making us understand what this is?
We're looking at basically, and we developed tech for an on-body injector. Now we're looking at taking that to the next stage of development. It's a long process. It's not something that will happen in 1 year, but this development is something that will happen over the next 2 to 3 years, where we're looking at really advancing the on-body injector, and could be multiple molecules, pain management mainly, and oncology. But we're looking at not just servicing sort of the generic industry. So we're looking at developing some technologies that would be more attractive for novel molecules for innovative companies.
Okay, one last question. Sorry. This is I was going through one of our competitors, Ipsomed, and the demand is absolutely crazy for what they're doing because they have tie-ups with innovators. My question is that do you see that, because of this demand, they are, of course, getting out of, the older devices, the older pens. So do you see that, and because of this, do you see the demand for, insulin pens and also the margins they're going up? Because a lot of these companies are now tied up with the innovators, and especially falling short on capacities for SEMA? I mean, look, Ipsomed is a great company. I cannot comment on their business model. I can only make an assumption. My assumption would be that they're seeing higher margins, higher returns on their platforms with the scale up that they're seeing, where a contract manufacturing business and a legacy contract manufacturing business, which they've been maybe doing for the last 15, 18 odd years, may not be so lucrative anymore. So, that's, again, just a personal opinion. I have no ways to back this up, but, I feel that's probably why they're getting out of or reducing the contract manufacturing bit and increasing the capacities and offerings on their own platforms. And look, they've done exceptionally well. I think they will continue to do exceptionally well. And they just developed the right tech at the right time, much ahead of us in a lot of cases. But our portfolio, from a perspective, is exceptionally strong today. So I'm confident that we will also see a very significant scale up. And we see scale up happening in the insulin also, or we don't want to scale it up because we see opportunities in our own proprietary platforms. If there's an opportunity for scaling up insulin and the existing,
there's opportunity for scaling up insulin, and we are interested in scaling up insulin as well. Our top line is nowhere close to an Ipsomed. So Shaily as a company is very interested in scaling up insulin as well, along with the other platforms or other molecules.
Thanks and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rupesh Tatya from IntelSense Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Can you hear me?
Sir, may I request you to please use your handset?
Yeah, I am on handset. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. Now it's much better.
Okay. So my first question is, when can we see commercial launch of semaglutide in ROW markets like Brazil, Australia, some of those markets? Because my understanding is regulated market launch is a few years away. So,
yeah, I think that everybody is looking at an ROW, like you said, Brazil, India, Canada launch. In most of our customers would be targeting 26, which is basically FY27, but calendar 26 launch in these markets.
And what kind of market size would that be for the pen?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you please repeat?
What would be the market size for this ROW market for semaglutide?
The market when you start will be, of course, it will still be several million devices, but the ROW market will expand very fast because today, the innovator itself runs short on these devices, and they're not able to service regulated markets effectively with the product. From various reports that I've read. So the ROW market, you will see fairly good scale up. Eventually, at maturity, we feel that ROW and regulated markets will be somewhere either 40-60 or 50-50 on volumes globally.
Okay, sir. That's good to know. So second question is, can you give me, the total pen volume that we did in, financial year 24?
Unfortunately, I'm traveling. I don't have the number on the top of my head. But Sanjay, what was the total volume of pens and auto-injectors and all devices put together in the last financial year?
It would be somewhere in the region of about 10 to 12 million pens.
12 million?
Yeah.
12 million.
And IP reference.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, I didn't get that number, sir. What was the number?
Somewhere around 11, 12 million is what number of pens we sold in the last year.
Okay. And so assuming
devices, not pens only, devices.
Okay. And assuming, we can do some, let's say, LIRA approvals for our partners come through, then teriparatide approvals come through, then semaglutide clinical batches, then tirzepatide batches. Can we assume that, this volume will go to something like 20 million in 25?
No, I don't see 30 million for sure. We're looking at, like I said, about 15% growth. So, I anticipate somewhere around 17 to 18 million pens in devices in the current year.
Okay. And then the related question to that, sir, is my understanding is, insulin devices realization is much lower. But, some of these our newer platform, the realization, at least my expectation is it would be pretty high. So can you, give color on how average realization will move on an overall portfolio level?
Again, a little too soon to tell. You're right. I agree that realization on insulin pens is lower than on GLP-1s. But there are also different pens. You see, insulin pens, for example, most of them would be mechanical devices, right? So our Protean platform is a low cost 60-unit platform, and from cost being lower, selling price is also lower. But yes, on the insulin business, the realization is lower. But, at this point, we're interested in scaling up, and I feel over the next even 10 years, insulin is going to play a crucial role in when it comes to volume. And you need the volumes to get scale, or to gain economies of scale as well. You need to have your lines run efficiently, and for that you need the insulin volumes.
Okay, but eventually some of these, market share of some of these, liraglutide, tirzepatide, teriparatide, semaglutide, it will go up. So, on an average, I don't know. What is the difference in realization? It is 3-4x of insulin. Can you give some ballpark, figure?
See, when these products become commercial, we don't know what kind of competition you're actually looking at and what will be the eventual selling price. But if you look at the GLP-1 market and the way it's exploding today, GLP-1 will certainly give you higher margin than insulin, but I don't think it's going to be 3-4x.
Okay, I see, sir. Okay. And then another question is you talked about, one of our competitors getting out of contract manufacturing, but can we talk about where we are on contract manufacturing? Do we and what kind of contract manufacturing we do, if we do at all? And maybe, you can talk about some of the products that we contract manufacture.
We contract manufacture a lot of insulin pens, basically, right? So we have some specialty devices that will go on stream in the current year, some that we're already doing. We also contract manufacture dry powder inhalers, but the bulk of the contract manufacturing volume is all insulin pens. Okay.
And then, sir, my final question is if we read about some of our competitors, they are looking at, massive capex, $200 million, $500 million. So if, and we are very strong on semaglutide, given that we are the only, reference design one, I think, for Ozempic. So do you feel there will come a time where, we'll have to raise capital if success comes through as we expect in semaglutide to, do a massive, $50-100 million capex?
No, I do not expect $50-100 million capex needed on semaglutide. First, by nature of us being located in India, our capex is lower. Second, we did this massive capex last year on the pharma side. So we've essentially looked at creating an infrastructure. So today we have the building available to, let's say, manufacture somewhere, again, very difficult to put a number, but we can manufacture around 60 to 70 million devices at maturity in a given year. We have not installed all the capacity, so all the equipment, machinery needed has not been installed. At the moment, what we have installed is something that can cater to an annual volume of 25 to 30 million devices. So as we see approvals coming in, as we see scale up happening, we will make the additional investment in particular machinery, tools, and assembly equipment for semaglutide.
Okay. So final question is to go from this 25 to 30 million to 70 million. What kind of capex we would need, and whenever it happens?
I think an additional capex in the range of, I would say somewhere in the range of between $15 and $20 million will be is what we're looking at in additional capex. But that number is not something that will happen in the next 3 years. We're not looking at investing essentially anything significant in the next 2 to 3 years. We've done the investments needed. So we would look at this as an investment over the next 6, 7 years.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for answering all my questions, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Karan Mehra from Mehta Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. A couple of questions from my end. The revenue has seen a growth of around 6%, and the consumer segment, which forms major revenue contribution for us, has seen a degrowth of around 8%. So, can you throw some light on the factors contributing to the degrowth? As in, there is a subsegment and the consumer segment as well. So, which business contributed to the degrowth and why?
So, Karan, I mentioned this in my speech that when you look at the consumer segment, there are two things to it. One is the revenue from toys has come down, so that's one reason for it. And second is raw material pass-through which happened. You've seen raw material prices being lower in the current year as compared to what it was earlier, which would basically mean your realization went down. So these were two reasons for which overall you're seeing a 4% degrowth on the consumer part of the business. Understood.
Sir, and with regards to our capacity utilization, which stands at around 40%, so any reasons why we aren't increasing our utilization rate, and what are we doing to increase the rate in the future? So we are working with customers. We are bidding for new businesses and everything. We expect that capacity utilization will go up in the current year as compared to last year. Understood. So that answers my question. Thank you and all the very best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand Jain, who is an individual investor. Please go ahead. Mr. Anand?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
So just one question. As of now, when you said that, just wanted to confirm that on Terry, we are hoping for approvals on first half of this year on our proprietary platform. Is that a correct understanding? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Yes, Anand, that is correct. For Terry, we are hoping to get approval in the first half of this year, but I cannot confirm or guarantee that. So
I understand, because Cipla has filed an approval for Terry. So you want to name the customer name, so I just wanted to confirm that in a different manner. So yeah.
Great.
No, I cannot give you any names.
And you gave the pen volumes for this year at around 11 to 12 million. If you can give me a breakup of pens which are like, for commercial sales versus, which have gone for trials and for these contracts, non-commercial contracts.
Anand, we will not be able to provide that breakup at this point. But I would not say contract manufacturing, for example, if 3 years ago contract manufacturing was 90% and proprietary devices were 10%, I'd say today the split would be somewhere 70-30 or 60-40. And as we move forward over the next couple of years, you will see the revenue generation from proprietary devices increasing.
So when you say 90-10 and 70-30, are you talking of volumes or are you talking of
value? Value.
Right. And this $11-12 million number, which I think in some ways, unless you know the split,
million devices.
Million, yeah. So what I'm saying is, what was it in 23? If you have that number, or maybe I can take it offhand.
I don't have it offhand, but I would assume that 23 was somewhere. Sandeep, I could be wrong. Correct me if I am, but about 7, 8.
I think so. I'll also need to look at the numbers. But yeah, unless I can probably get the number to you from the transcripts which we have. We can talk about that number and we can get that number to you.
Okay, so like assuming it was 7, then it's an amazing scale up that has already happened this year.
Yeah, pharma is a slow process, but you will see scale up.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take that as the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the call. We hope that we've been able to answer your questions adequately. For any further information, I request you to get in touch with SGA, our investor relations advisors. And thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
On behalf of Shaily Engineering Plastic Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.